Alrighty. Should be working now.
Awesome.
I think. Let me refresh the page again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Excellent.
Time. And we should be good. All right, man. So thanks.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to talk. Let's do this. Let's talk lead gen. Let's talk prospecting.
Yeah. So I know your first and last name, height, weight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Alex Schlinsky. My name is Alex Schlinsky. So, my name is Alex Schlinsky. I live here in Tampa, Florida. I am an owner, an entrepreneur of Sky Social Media, which is a digital marketing agency here in Tampa. I currently run the business with my wife, as well as about 10 to 40 contractors on a different basis. I run my business with some very close confidants as well. And one of our main assets that we're focusing majorly on in 2017 is called Prospecting on Demand, which is focused mostly on prospecting. During my years as a consultant for digital marketing, 99% of the pain points for every niche and business owner I spoke to was in regards to lead generation. Most of the time, it wasn't about sales, wasn't about follow-ups, wasn't about retention, wasn't about how to make sure the business model is structured properly. It was 99% of the time how to generate leads consistently in a systematic, automated method that also doesn't break your bank. A lot of people believe that conundrum.
I think that's pretty intricate information. How far along in your business did you realize that 99% of the people you were working with struggled with lead gen versus everything else that you were offering at the time?
It's a great question. So I think the truth is what it came down to was I realized that my business came down to understanding, what my market needed really bad. And then I realized it's not just me, it's every business needs to know their market really well. Once I figured that out, which probably took, I would say, about a year, because I was trying to appease everyone that I could, really just trying to help any industry I could. And I found that I could not be successful doing that. Had to specialize in certain verticals that I had success with, that I knew that I could give them a return on their investment, that I could help them. So after figuring out the secret that I really had to understand my niche, it then dawned upon me soon after that so too do my clients. They also need to really deeply understand their customers. And that's what has made the big difference in terms of figuring out that that's what most of my customers needed was lead gen. I'd say it probably took about a year to get to that point, though.
How was the, because I imagine when you initially engaged with them, they're like, oh, yeah, we're excited. We got X, Y, and Z we want to do because you can do X, Y, and Z. When you made the transition with them, how did they receive it?
Most of them received it very well. To be honest, I actually fired a lot of clients that I had in services that were not useful. When I started, again, I was trying to just appease clients any ways necessary. So a lot of people wanted, people to post for them on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And there's tons of apps to do it with, HubSpot and Buffer and Hootsuite. And I was doing those services and we were charging, fair amounts. But the reality was that our service was dispensable. What I mean by that is we were the first person to be cut if their business was struggling, because at the end of the day, who cares about who cares about what we're doing or posting for them on Facebook? We care about making a difference on the bottom line. So then I focused my entire business model on making a difference on the bottom line, which is at the end of the day generating leads and generating sales for businesses, and that's exactly what we started focusing on.
And that's what you're doing now.
Exactly. That's really the entire focus of our business now. So on both sides of the coin, whether it's the done for you option, 99% of the time we're focused on lead generation for their business. And if it's the option of teaching and consulting and helping someone grow their own business, we're also teaching them how to generate leads properly through proper prospecting. No more cold calling, no more methods that are not very effective or utilize your time ineffectively or your money ineffectively. We're talking about methods that actually work to grow your business and generate qualified leads.
Cool. Hey, do you want to say hi to everybody really fast?
Sure. Hey, everyone. If you guys are showing up now, this is Alex Schlinsky. I'm the owner of Sky Social Media here in Tampa, Florida. I'm a digital marketer and entrepreneur and business owner, 25 years old. Been in this for about 5 years, about 7 years in business, but about 5 years in the digital marketing niche. So that is exactly who I am.
Nice. So this guy, cool. Saying like your pure social media management is a non-starter for. Oh, that's a good question, Matthew. Nice.
What was the question?
Matthew's saying, so sounds like you're saying pure social media management is a non-starter for a business. That's a great statement. That's a great statement.
Yeah, so it's really important to know. At the end of the day, this is funny. It came to me watching the movie Nightcrawler. Great movie if anyone's interested. Jake Gyllenhaal, fantastic film. Jake in the movie says something that really resonated with me, and I hope will resonate with you guys. He's saying that he needs to make himself indispensable. Now, if you're working with a business, it's very important that you build a foundation of clientele. Now, prospecting, lead generation, very important, but you cannot grow a successful business. You cannot scale, no matter your niche, no matter what you're doing. You cannot scale unless you are able to retain those clients. You cannot bring on a client and then lose them after 30 days because then you have to recoup that investment, try to get the money back. It's never going to work. You have to maintain those clients. How do you maintain them? The way to maintain them is by making your offerings, your services, something that is indispensable to the business. They are critical to the success of their business. Posting on Facebook, it's not critical to the success of 99% of businesses. What is critical is making sales for them, generating leads for them, helping to make a difference on their bottom line. So even if they're struggling, they know the only thing that's helping them stay afloat is you. If you're the one helping them stay afloat, if you're the one offering services that are making a difference for them on their bottom line, it's going to make a really big difference for you moving forward. That transition in my business has made us able to retain clients for years plus, whereas previously our average retention rate maybe 2-3 months because we were offering services that they really didn't need. And once you realize that transition, it's going to make a huge difference for you and your business moving forward.
Yeah, I think the term there is the difference between needs and wants. Because social media management is still a viable option for a service, but sure, it's not usually the biggest need, right? But for the companies that have the dispensable income revenue, they can actually pour it into
100%
their desires. So I think that's a good point because I know Matthew does a lot of social media, and it's still necessary. But if you can add the leads to get them their money.
Added value. It should be a supplemental service only. Yep. It should never be the baseline service. Now, of course, if all you can do is get them to agree to social media management, you got to take it. But when you're there, you need to. The onus is on you as the business owner to explain to them what you can do to help them. You explain, look, Facebook posts are great. It's good for vanity statistics. People will be seeing your post. They'll know about you. Maybe you can do a couple offers. But the truth is, it's nothing in comparison to PPC. It's nothing in comparison to lead generation where we could generate a difference on the bottom line. Now, if you want to include that as a supplemental upsell, great opportunity. And we do that with several people. But the truth is, it's also made my sales a lot easier when I talk to someone and they're expecting me to say, well, you should post on Facebook 3 times a day. But instead, I'm focusing on how to help their business grow, how to help their business right now, and how to make a difference on their bottom line. It's a much more powerful statement than saying, yeah, I'll post for you on Facebook and Twitter 3 times a week so that your current clients know exactly what you guys are doing. Important, but not a great baseline service to offer.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a good foot in the door kind of thing, just because.
Absolutely.
And that's for that particular demographic of companies who are very suspicious. But once you get in, and if you're a good salesperson, and that's what Alex does too, is he helps you to be a much better salesperson, to structure your perspective and how to change their minds. But if you're a really good salesperson, get in with the low, I call it the back pocket items, where it's low maintenance on our end, but of extreme value to the customer. You get in there 100%. And then carry on with your sales, and then do your magic with your PPC and lead gen. Yeah, then you can take it.
That's 100%. And I work with a lot of people. This is a good leeway. I work with a lot of people who offer programs that are kind of a 1 month or one project at a time kind of deal. Now, certain industries, you can't really do anything with it. Like if you're a car salesman, not so much that you can do to increase the lifetime value of the customer. Maybe you can offer, free or half off cleanings of their car or whatever. But in the digital marketing world, I see a lot of people just doing web design only. And it kind of shocks me because you cannot build a foundation by just offering a project that has a certain end date. If that project has a certain end date with no opportunity for an upsell afterwards, can't grow your business. It's impossible. You'll just continually be working on a single individual project. Whether that project is $1,000, $10,000 is irrelevant. You have to be able to create that as a reoccurring client. What I consistently tell people to do if you're in the web design niche is to team up with an agency, allow them to take on that client afterwards as a PPC client for upsell, because now you made them a brand new website. You need to get them traffic to that website. You need to utilize the website. Team up with an agency, get them to be working with you on a monthly basis and take a percentage of that. Now you're creating residual recurring income for your business, and now you don't have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck, project to project. Because a lot of web designers look at that end date and say, oh, February 10th, the project's over. What do I do now? I need to figure out a way to generate new leads and new projects, but I also have to finish this project right now. I'm very worried. Well, if you have an upsell opportunity, you have an opportunity to continue to grow and scale your business.
This is totally off topic. It's funny because with this Be Live tool, there's two different screens, and then there's another one off to the side, and then there's another one to Facebook. So I'm like, dude, he's active here, he's active here, and then my mind split. Like, what do I focus on? It's kind of awesome because there's so much value that you're spitting. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, this is good. Sorry about that, but I'm gonna throw a curveball here because there's two industries that are kind of like hard, but not really. The entertainment industry, and then also the coaching space.
Okay.
To generate leads. What do you recommend in terms of prospecting for? Let's start with coaching.
So coaching is a great industry. I had a lot of experience in coaching previously. I was trying to do one-on-one coaching. I ended up not doing it because I preferred the group method for multiple reasons. The big reason I preferred group, just very simply, not to skirt away from your question, but the reason I chose group over one-on-one is the one-on-one, the onus is all on the coach to really provide them with so much value that it makes a big difference in their business. To me, everything that I want to do is just help the person that's working with me. I'm not in this just to make $1 here and there. I'm in this to create value and change someone's life. Whether that person needs to grow their business for some reason, whatever their big why is, I want to help them achieve that. And it's a lot easier to do in a group coaching method because even though I have a lot of value, so does everyone else. There's a lot of people that have a lot of really good value to provide, and it's kind of not right to just say that I am the only one that can do that. And the prices of individual coaching one-on-one is usually astronomically high to the point where you're most of the time not going to give them a return on the investment soon, maybe in the long run. But that's my thoughts. In terms of prospecting as an individual coach, easiest way to do it, no question, LinkedIn. Dominate LinkedIn. Know and understand your customer avatar. Really understand them. Really. And I don't mean like, oh, well, they're 20 to 30 years old and they're males most of the time and they like cartoons. No, you need to really understand them. What is their big why? What are they currently doing that's withholding them from their dreams? What are their dreams? What are their fears? What are they scared most of? Why are they not able to achieve what they're trying to achieve? If you can actually answer those questions, if you can articulate someone's pain to them on a sales call and then explain to them how you are that solution, there's no reason why they won't want to work with you because they have to. They need you. You become indispensable again. Now, how do you do that on LinkedIn? Very simply, you try to find the lowest common denominator for your customer avatar, whether they're in a certain industry. So for example, if you're coaching in fitness, what kind of industry do most people want to be coached in an industry? Maybe corporate people because they don't get to get out of their cubicle all day and they feel fat. So what are you going to do? How are you going to help them? Well, maybe you create a coaching program to work out in your cubicle. Maybe you create a program for coaching people that are in that type of work environment and how to get out of there every day and hold yourself accountable to actually go forth and do the workouts, right? Now, in terms of coaching, Facebook ads, another amazing way. If you guys, anyone watching right now in the fitness industry coaching wise, check out AJ Rivera. That guy is dominating the coaching space in fitness right now. He has an amazing high ticket funnel, 2-step funnel that's absolutely crushing it. So check that out if you haven't. In my opinion, there's no question about it. The absolute best way to generate leads is through advertising on Facebook in today's day and age. If you do not have the money to invest in that yet, in order to create your foundation, use LinkedIn and then move directly into a webinar or high ticket funnel as soon as you possibly can, which is exactly what I did. I started prospecting on demand as one-on-one coaching. I generated about 5 clients, one-on-one coaching on LinkedIn. And it was very effective. It took some time. I think it took about a month to generate all 5 of those, maybe a little bit more, maybe 45 days. We saw some really good results with them. But again, there was reasons why I wanted to do a group program instead. I transitioned it over into a group program. And now what I do, pulling back the curtain here, I run a webinar every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. tomorrow. You guys can join if you want. 2 p.m. every single Wednesday. I give you free valuable information for 50 minutes or so, and then I pitch my offer. Now, the reason some people are saying, oh, well, why would you tell us that you pitched the offer? Guys, marketing today has become so deceitful. There's nothing to be, what am I trying to hide here? You think I'm just going to have a webinar for no reason at all? Of course, at the end of the day, we're going to be selling something, but that doesn't mean there's not tons of value beforehand that you can't utilize, even if you choose not to move forward. The goal here is to figure out the best method for you to generate leads that fits into your budget. For us, I had no budget at all to run ads on Facebook, even though I desperately wanted to. I had to run on LinkedIn first. Now I have that budget to invest in because I'm investing back into my business. And now we have a successful webinar every single week.
And you're live every week?
Every week. So currently I'm live every week. And to be fair, I do want to do an automated version, but there are some really great reasons why I do the live one. The number one reason why I do the live one is because I'm a charismatic, energetic person. I really enjoy talking about this information. When I see someone commenting and like saying something and being a part of it, it's thrilling to me. There's nothing more exciting than that when they're saying, oh, this is so valuable. I never thought of it this way on LinkedIn, or wow, I wish I wasn't doing cold calls. When I hear someone talking like that, it gets me very excited. But that's one thing. Probably the most important thing in terms of a sales aspect, being live allows you to overcome objections. Whereas if you're not live, if it's automated, it's less personable. And I'm a very personable person. That's how I really conduct business. And you really can't overcome objections. Now, there are ways to skirt that. I mean, for example, Dan Henry, he has an automated webinar cycle, and he's absolutely killing it. So I'm not going to sit here and say by any means that it won't work. It will. But then alternatively, you have someone like Dave Rogenmoser who does a live one every week, and he's absolutely killing it. So there are both sides of the coin. Personally, I think what I'll do is I'll continue to have a live one every Wednesday, and hopefully in February, I will integrate a automated webinar maybe for Monday or Friday. Because the biggest downfall to the live webinar is that, if someone signs up on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, or Thursday or Friday, they may not come to the webinar live on Wednesday. And then if you're watching the replay, it's the exact same thing as if I had it as an automated webinar, right? Because I'm not live anymore. So I'm thinking probably I'll do an automated webinar Mondays and Fridays, and a live one every single Wednesday.
So let's say I'm an inventor. I got a product. I went, manufactured it, and it's about to get ready to market. What would you advise that person that's an inventor on prospecting?
It's tough. I think the first thing that it comes down to is prospecting is two major. There's two major aspects of prospecting, no matter what your business is, and this is critical to understand. So anyone watching, please take this into consideration. One, most important thing over anything else is knowing your customer avatar. So I don't care about the product. I don't care about your offer. I don't care about what you're trying to do. I care about what your customer cares about. Because if you can find something that your customer needs and you can fulfill that need, you're going to be winning every time. Very important. You need to really, really understand your customer avatar. The next portion is understanding proper prospecting methods. Now, I know you and I differ slightly here, and I don't think there's such thing as, guaranteed this one is definitely better than the other method. I think all the methods work at sometimes. There's just preferred methods that I prefer to go through. For example, I would never do a cold call, ever. It doesn't make any sense to me. I've spoken to several business owners who tell me, I've done 500 cold calls in the last 6 months and I've generated 3 consultations. Well, why in the world are you still cold calling? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. It just doesn't compute. Now, in the idea of these other methods, it really just comes down to what's going to fit well. Now, in terms of what I do, my prospecting schedule is as follows. Direct mail, incredibly powerful. If people aren't using direct mail, I just don't get it. It's still such a great method. It's the easiest way to get into someone's hands. 2, LinkedIn, so powerful. Absolutely great method. 3, high ticket funnels, that 2-step, 3-step funnel where you're giving them an offer, free video training, then you're asking them to either purchase something right away or selling them on the phone with a phone call. There's also a qualification process in there. The high ticket funnels, probably my single favorite lead generation tool if you are selling something that costs over $1,000. Now, if you're selling something like at $997 and less, webinars are unreal. You could sell people live on webinars, 20, 30, 50 people live on a webinar. You get 10% of those at $1,000. You just made a really great windfall of cash. And that's how I sell prospecting on demand. Now, I could sell it through a high ticket funnel as well. But instead, for my high ticket funnel, I focus on Sky social media services. So for my high ticket funnel, I have a 5-minute video explaining on that funnel, what I do, who I am, and then how I can help them, basically. Valuable information, and if they're interested to learn more, let's have a free consultation. I have a qualification application basically stating, why do you want this call, so I'm not wasting my time. And right now I have a list lead right on my computer right in front of me of 67 people that have said, yes, I want to have a call with you about, generating leads for my business. So it's a very highly effective method of generating leads. But it all comes down to really what you can afford and what your customer needs. So when you say, I'm an inventor and I have a product, the first thing I'd say is, what is the big offering to your customer? As in, why do they need your service? So I saw something, for example, yesterday on Facebook called the beard bib. It's literally just a piece of paper that you put onto your mirror, and then when you shave, all the beard clippings go into a bag. Now that's great for me because usually I'm a grizzly beard, and when I shave, my wife or my kids or my family are complaining to me that I need to clean up the kitchen, right? Now on their copy, they mention directly, don't or stop having your wife complain at you for cleaning, or stop the mess of your beard. They really understand their customer avatar, just like the Dollar Shave Club really understands their customer avatar. When you focus your entire prospecting on what your customer needs, you will find success. Too many times I'm speaking with owners of businesses, whatever niche it is, and they're focusing on their offer, what they're gonna do, what's valuable from them, not what their customers need, not what their customer's pain is, not how they're gonna solve the customer's issue. That's the thing I would tell anyone in any niche, no matter what they're selling, to focus on first in prospecting, and then come up with the best method that works for you.
So once you know your customer, and then you can go pretty much whatever venue and prospect the heck out of them, right? Because the messaging is there. You understand how to communicate.
Exactly. And then once you really know your customer avatar, then my recommendation would be to put up the options for your prospecting. So you need to do some research and you need to figure out what methods could work. Now, there's cold calls, there's cold emails, there's going door to door, there's creating content, there's posting in Facebook messages, there's LinkedIn group messaging. Now, these are all methods that I'm not a big fan of. I know some of them can work. I'm never going to say that they won't work. It's not possible. You can, of course, work that way, but there's too many cons for me. Namely, the biggest con for me is time. for me, money is important, but there's nothing more important than time. Now, as a husband, my time is more valuable to my wife than it is for any of my clients. I care about my wife, right? That's my big why. Just like your big why is for your kids and your family. Most people's big why is for that. So I would rather spend money on prospecting rather than time. Cold calling is time. That's the problem. That really makes it, quite difficult to really achieve what you're looking to achieve if you don't have proper prospecting tools. So I prefer to focus on time-oriented tasks and going from there. Cedric, if you could read that question to me, Rob, I'll happily answer it.
Yeah, actually, what's the link for your webinar tomorrow?
Let me shoot it here to you. Let me know if that worked. I sent it to you in BeLive.
Okay. Okay, here it is. How's it going, Lee? We need to get together, man. Good to see you, Lee. So I'm going to drop the link here for the webinar.
Yeah, guys, please come to my webinar tomorrow. I'd love to have you guys. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, I think it's a great time to learn prospecting because if you can prospect, sell, and implement, that's your business, right? You can be successful.
But if you can't
first, it's going to be tough. And learning the first will help you be better at the second. And the implementation is easy. Just get contractors, etc. So tomorrow is the webinar. Get on that because if you don't know the first part, the prospecting, it's going to be tough to sell.
It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern for everyone knowing. And I actually opened up the live here. I see Cedric Blickman asked, what do you recommend for a music artist to do to build their social media? Okay, so Cedric, it really depends on what you are trying to accomplish, right? I mean, we kind of spoke about this in the beginning of the call, but I'll just reference it briefly. What you need to focus on is what your customers are looking for. And then what you need to do after that is really come up with a method to get them what they're looking for. Your focus shouldn't be on you, should not be on how you are going to become more successful. It's how you can do what your customers need. Now, in music, entertainment industry, totally different than like 99% of industries because obviously, there's a whole lot of hoops to jump through. And I actually have quite a lot of experience in the music industry. I worked with a DJ called DJ Zardonic, which was an amazing experience that I had, who works with E1 Entertainment Company, which is a massive record label in the United States and Canada. So I think what I would recommend you to do, Cedric, before you even focus on growing your social media is focusing on what your customers really want and then feeding them what they really want, and then just sticking to a schedule. So if you're going to agree to a schedule to post 3 to 5 times a week on Facebook, just do it. Just stick to a schedule, hold yourself accountable, and keep moving forward. Lee, you asked, are you on the camera in the webinar? So I go live at 1:45. At 1:45, I go live, and I ask anyone can answer any questions, or I can answer any questions, for the first 15 minutes. And where I am live, you'll see me just like this in this exact spot that I'm sitting right now. But instead of the mic that I have, I'll be using this beautiful mic, which I love. Blue Snowball, if anyone is wondering. It's a great mic. I love it. Philip Calavet hooked me up with that. So thank you, Phil, if you're watching. Much love. So Lee, I will be on there for the first 15 minutes. You'll see me live. And then I'll switch it to the screen share with all my screens. I use Google Slides, and I'll go through my slideshow. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. The first 50 minutes or so is all about great information, valuable information. And then the last is I'm talking about prospecting on demand and how we can help you grow your business.
For Cedric, what up, Blickman? So he's actually he's a very talented artist, which is good because he can tailor his music to what the customer, what his demographic wants. But the other thing I'd add is choose the platform, right? Choose the platform because maybe your demographic isn't on Facebook all the time. They're probably an group, right? Or they're a Snapchat group. So once you understand them, choose the platform and then hammer them, give them what they want on the venue that they're most likely to be on. So
it's not easy, that's for sure. But I think you already knew that when you started. Most people don't go into something because it's easy. There's definitely a challenge, that's for sure. You need to understand the challenge that's there. But like Rob said, like I said, find where your customers are and treat them like royalty, and then consistently survey your market. And that also is for not just music, anyone. Don't be afraid to ask. That's the most critical thing. Someone comes to me and says, hey, Alex, how do you, get a case study, or how do you find someone to hook up with or JV with? You ask. You're a human being. We're all human beings here. You're allowed to ask. The worst thing that will happen is someone says, screw you, get out. Okay, well then you don't want to work with that person anyways. How did Rob and I get to this call? I got in touch with him. We had not met before. I said, Rob, I want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation with you. Let's chat. Let's see if we can end up working together. And voila, here we are. Rob had the opportunity to say no, but if he said no, is that going to break my heart? Am I going to be done forever? No. You can ask. You're allowed to ask. Understand your value. Understand your worth. Understand what your clients are looking for, and then ask. Survey. People say, well, how do you know what your customers really want? How do you know their fears, goals, and dreams? I ask them. I ask them. Someone gets on the phone with me today. He's an insurance salesman, and he says, Alex, I'm struggling so hard to achieve my goals. I don't know how to achieve them. What do I do? And I said, well, what are your goals? He said, that's the first person that ever asked me that. I thought you were just going to start telling me things. I'm like, well, I can't start telling you things if I don't know what your goals are, right? I need to get an idea of who you are, what you need. That's really important. You really have to be able to understand that you're allowed to ask. You're allowed to survey your market. Don't worry about expert positioning so much. There's such a onus on you have to be the expert and guru. I like to think that I'm a guru for prospecting, but the reality is there's a lot of people that know just as much or more than I do. That doesn't mean that they're any better or any worse. It just means that there's value to be provided by everyone. That's what it comes down to, and that's what I try to portray in this industry.
Yeah, I think the thing that people get that gets glossed over in sales is the last part, which is asking for the business. We're too caught up in, what's step one of asking or saying certain things, mirroring, right, or trying to position your physically to, man, just ask for the business, dude. You're there. Ask. You know why you're there. Just ask.
Here's another great tip for those of you that are struggling with sales out there. And I speak with a lot of people that struggle in sales. So don't worry if you're in that, mindset. You will get over it. The best thing I'll tell you is experience is the best teacher. Look, some people have great sales skill regardless. You might be just someone that's a really smooth talker, but other people struggle with it. That's fine. People have different psychological backgrounds and a little bit of, different stressors and whatever, struggles. But the truth is you can learn to become a good salesman. What it comes down to is understanding your value, understanding your customer, and being able and not afraid to go forward and say what you're saying, right? I mean, it's that simple. Now, in terms of the tip, what's the tip here? Record your sales calls. Why? Not because I want you to re-listen to them and be cringeworthy about what you're doing, but more so on the idea of I speak to someone and they say, look, I had 10 sales calls this week and I didn't close anyone. I said, why? So I don't know. That's what you're supposed to help me with. And I said, well, how am I supposed to help you if I'm not on the sales call? Do you have a recorded call? He said, no. What am I supposed to do? There's nothing I could do. Record your calls for one of two reasons. One, to either play them back for someone that is an outsider that can help you and give you tips on it, or two, you listen to it yourself and see what you learn from it. I don't record every sales call. I'm not going to sit here and say that I record every single one. But when I feel like, that I have a big lead coming in and I want to make sure that I really hit this one on the head, I'm going to record it. And I'll tell them at the front end, I'll say, look, I'm recording this call for quality assurance purposes, et cetera. And then I'll listen to it again if I don't close. And I'll say, well, what did I miss here? And sometimes I might find I spoke too long in this scenario, or I didn't give him enough time, or I didn't ask the right question, or I didn't get to the point, or whatever it is. You might actually know the answer yourself if you just record the call. So don't be afraid to do that. Definitely record the calls so that in your sales you can learn from your mistakes. My motto in business is you succeed or you learn. There's no such thing as failure in business. Every single person in the entire planet has failed. No one has ever been always successful. I certainly haven't. I'm sure Rob certainly hasn't. That's not the case. No one is ever expecting that. No one is even expecting perfection, even your clients. And by the way, if any client is ever expecting perfection, don't work with those people. Those aren't the type of people you want to work with anyways, because you're human. You can't be perfect. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So don't be afraid, to not be perfect, and also understand who you are and what your customers are and what your value is. And that ultimately in the long run will allow you to build a business that you're not only satisfied with, but your clients are satisfied with. And that will give you the freedom that you're looking for.
Nice. I like Lee says, failure is when you do nothing. Dude, that's going to be a t-shirt.
Absolutely. Failure is when you do nothing. I like that. You know, look, I mean, the reality is you have to take action. Tim Ferriss says something that's very powerful that resonates with me. He says, measure the cost of inaction. And I use that in almost all of my sales calls, not as a hard sales technique, but to literally be one-on-one with this person. I'm like, look, I understand that you have objections. I understand that you're skeptical of what I'm offering here, but measure the cost of inaction. What if you do not take that leap of faith? What will happen then? You will stay in the exact same spot that you're in right now. Or you could say, well, I'll try to go learn all the information myself. And then what happens? Paralysis by analysis. We've all been there. You have 25 tabs open on your computer. 20 of them are for the exact same thing that you don't really need to care about. I mean, I can't tell you, my computer died last week, someday during the week. My computer died, had a nervous breakdown. I had probably 30 tabs up that I wanted to read all of them. Guess what? A week later, I didn't get any of those tabs back. I'm just fine. None of those tabs really meant much. They were just little information bits here and there. Maybe I could have got something from it, but paralysis by analysis is a real thing. You need to make sure that if you're going to take action, you're taking action on something that is a calculated risk that will help you grow. Don't waste time trying to learn everything and be the best in everything. Focus on your strengths, focus on what you can do for your clients, and focus on taking action that's going to help you. If you fail, if you stumble, if you make a mistake, take that as a learning experience to then grow from there. That is a huge key to long-term success, and something that not only do I say it to speak to you guys, I say it to myself too. I'm a human also. Sometimes I make a mistake, I stumble, and I kind of sit there and I dread. I get dreadful over what I've done. And the reality is, look, I can't control everything. So I pick myself up, I dust myself off, and move on to the next thing, because that's what it comes down to. Failure is not, messing up on something. Failure is failing to learn. If you didn't learn anything from it, then there's nothing that you've done appropriate. Keep pushing forward. Keep trying it out. Keep working towards your goals. And again, measure the cost of inaction. That's the biggest thing that I've been doing probably over the last 6 months, is measuring the cost of inaction. Anytime I'm going to make a big decision, measure the cost of inaction.
I think what comes to mind for me is it's okay if you fail. It's okay if you fail, right? Or if it doesn't get done. Or I think as long as you can forgive yourself and know that, hey, it's okay, right? Noah Kagan, Tim Ferriss, they talk about the failure Olympics. Go ask Starbucks and ask for a free coffee and let them say no to you, and then let the people behind you think you're stupid. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay. And just move on.
Also, sometimes I like to think about, who are you trying to impress? If you think about it, sometimes the reality is, there's a lot of external factors besides for your internal factors. In fact, most people that are motivated by external, not internal, which I don't think is a great thing. Not going to sit here that I'm some expert on it, but the truth is my internal drive is my passion for what I'm doing. My external drive is my big why, which is providing for my family. Nothing will ever supersede that, ever. It's impossible. That's my biggest why. Now, in terms of how to move forward with that, when I'm worried about, failing, I think about, okay, well, if I fail, is my wife going to hate me? No. If I failed my entire business today and everything fell apart, who would be there by my side regardless? My wife. And that's my big why. That's exactly what I'm doing this for. So who am I trying to impress? What expert positioning do I need in order to provide for my wife, in order to make her satisfied? The truth is, she's going to be happy with me no matter what I did, because I tried. That's what it comes down to. And you think of it that way and you have some perspective, which is very, very key as an entrepreneur, you'll be able to grow. Think about it. What's your reason? What's your reason for doing this? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for a goal? Are you doing it to take a trip? Why? What's the reason? Think about it. Think about your reason, think about perspective, and realize, look, I'm not in the worst situation. And even if I was in the worst situation, the big why that I have is still there for me. My family is still there for me. My friends are still there for me. I have something to fall back upon. Very important.
Yeah, that's super powerful. For you to say it's okay when you fail, but then also have the comfort of the people around you, your inner core community. You're bulletproof. You're bulletproof.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like, for example, I don't have kids yet, but my brother has children, and I could see when they look at him, he is their god, right? I mean, like, that's what they are. He's the invincible dad, and we all know that as growing up, either you're invincible mom or you're invincible dad or grandmother or aunt or brother, whatever it is, that person that you look up to. And when you look into someone's eyes, you're the person that looks up to you like that. Everything else, all your stressors, fears, dreams, aspirations, even, they all melt away. All that matters is that exact moment. That exact moment, looking at them and being like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this. Let's dust this off. Let's move it on, and let's go crush it. And even if you stumble again, remember, okay, there's a reason why I'm doing this. Got to keep pushing forward. Got to keep getting to the next level. You'll always find stumbling blocks. It's never going to be an easy road. No one ever suggested that it would be. And that's your choice as an entrepreneur. But the reality is there are people out there that can help you. There are people out there that have a roadmap to grow. And this is something that I say to everyone that I work with, and I think it's very powerful. In this day and age, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that believe in order to succeed in business, there's a single ladder. And in order to get higher up the ladder, you have to throw the people on top of you off the ladder, or rip them off, or get them off in front of you. I prefer to think of it as a mountain. You're climbing Mount Everest. If I'm climbing a mountain, I damn sure want to have someone ahead of me saying, hey, that's the path I took. Make sure you don't go that way or you'll fall. Take this way. That is really important. What we can do together as a group is much more powerful than what you can do alone. And that's not to say that you can't do amazing things alone. You have amazing power. I don't even know you, and I'm speaking to you. Not Rob, I'm saying you, the person watching. Right now, you. I don't know you, but you have power. You have value. There's something inside of you that is worthy to someone else. That doesn't mean you have to only rely on someone else, but that doesn't mean you can't be a part of the human experience and connect with someone that's been there before, that's seen what you have yet to see, that has been through a trial that you have yet to gone through, that has seen an objection that you have not seen yet. If someone is offering an olive branch, offering help, take that. Again, measure the cost of inaction. If someone tells you go left, but you go right, what happens if you go right? Now, there might be a pot of gold, but there also might be a pit that drops you 10 steps down the ladder, right? So you need to take your risks. You need to take your calculated risks, but most of all, measure the cost of inaction, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You're allowed to. It's 100% allowed.
Yeah. Love it, man. Love it, dude. So do you want to remind people about tomorrow? And then
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the time, guys. It was really enjoyable doing this with you, Rob. Definitely would love to do it again. I love these kind of things. This is my passion, as you guys can tell. So I have a webinar tomorrow at 2 p.m. The webinar is totally focused on prospecting. I promise you I didn't give away everything here. We focused on, go ahead. 2 p.m. Eastern, yes. 2 p.m. Eastern. If you guys can't make it and you want to shoot me a message and you want to see the replay now, I'll happily send you a replay from last week. No problem at all. We'll also put in the chat box below the actual link to the registration page. But basically what the webinar covers is prospecting on demand, which is my bootcamp program that I've created. It's a mastermind that we've created. Now, obviously, the entire webinar focuses on major value in the first 50 minutes. We talk about specializing. We talk about LinkedIn. We talk about high-ticket funnels and webinars. Some of the most powerful prospecting methods, period, end of story. I don't care what you do, what your niche is. It will 100% work. And I hope that you'll join us at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Awesome. Awesome. Brenda says hi. Good to see you, girl. So everybody that's still on and that will watch later, Alex is a great guy. You can tell he's passionate. He's got experience, so he's drawn from the experience that he knows, but that's also in his gut, right? So it's a part of who he is. So I want to jump on and share this. So make sure you hop on his webinar tomorrow. And yeah, if you have any other questions, he's here on Facebook. Hit him up, friend him, do whatever you need.
Get in touch with me. Yep, yeah. I'm here. I'm available.
Don't be afraid to ask. It's okay.
Do not be afraid. No exactly.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm a human, guys. I'm a human. I'm not going to bite. I promise. You can come to me and ask me anything you need. I assure you that there is no hard sales here. There's no really anyone here trying to push you into a corner. What I want to do is see people grow. I want to see people crave value. When someone comes to me and says that they have, achieved something that they've longed to achieve due to methods that I was helping them with, there's nothing more invigorating than that in my life. I literally cannot tell you something that I'm more passionate about in business than someone telling me, hey, this worked, or hey, I was able to get this, or hey, I generated this amount of leads or this amount of clients. That is amazing. There's nothing better than that. And I'm sure, Rob, you can speak to that as well. There's nothing that inspires me more, and that's what I live for. That's what I do business for, to get that kind of feeling. It's like an adrenaline junkie. That's my adrenaline junkie right there.
Awesome. Yeah, Matthew, get in touch with Alex, man. He's a great guy to get in touch with. So, with that being said, everybody, appreciate you guys. I hope this was helpful. The great thing about Facebook Live is now it's going to stay here, right? So you can always come back and reference either the links or the information. But if you guys have a Facebook Live and you want to, share some value and you'd like to, talk to Alex, hit him up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Hit him up.
100%. Hey, Rob, I really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of this. It was exciting. Guys, anyone out there watching, my final note to you is, regardless of whether or not we ever meet, we ever speak, I sincerely, truly wish you nothing but the best in your future. We are all human beings, guys. We are all looking to achieve something similar. We're all looking to strive to be better people, strive to perform better, strive to give more, strive to be better in every way. What I mean at the end of the day is just be the best person that you can be. There's no competition here. You got to compete with yourself from the day before. If you get 1% better tomorrow, then you're better. Don't focus on what other people are doing. Don't focus on counting other people's pockets. Don't focus on how someone else is better than you. Be grateful for what you have now. Be happy with what you can achieve and understand the value that you can do. So if we never speak, guys, I wish you nothing but the best in 2017 and beyond. May everyone here have health, happiness, and success again in 2017 and beyond. Thank you guys so much. I hope to see you on the webinar tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, feel free to get in contact with me on Facebook, Alex Schlinsky. My business is Sky Social Media, and the program that we're talking about here is Prospecting on Demand. Guys, I appreciate the time so much. And Rob, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it, man.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.